Hi everybody. Before we start talking about the lesson that I'm going to do itself, I just want to let you know that I'm aware of the fact that this is not the highest quality video. I do end up needing to use my laptop camera though, and I'm in a decently lit place, but it's not the best. So I do apologize for that, but if you bear with me, I think we'll be able to make this work. What we are doing in this class session is a listening activity, and we're going to be doing a follow-up discussion after we have listened to a TED Talk by a woman named Chimamanda Adichie. The TED Talk title is The Danger of a Single Story, and you can find it on TED.com if you're interested. But I'll go ahead and get us into what we're doing, and thank you for watching my video and for listening. Alright guys, so that video was great, I thought, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you can find some things to connect to within it. Before we watch it a second time to tackle some of the larger level concepts and to get another feel for what Adichie has said, I want to have a conversation with you guys about something that's really important to start recognizing for ourselves and when we're listening to others. So in the past, on writing assignments, we've had the discussion of global issues and local issues. Anybody remind me what the difference between those two are? Right. Okay. So local issues are issues that are maybe indicating that there's grammatical incorrectness. They could be just issues with how you write your sentences and how you end up conveying your words. They aren't technically right per se, but the difference is they're not problematic. A global issue is some sort of issue in your writing that affects your audience's ability or your reader's ability to understand what you're trying to get across. And these are language issues that we want to tackle first. Global issues are language issues that we want to tackle first. Because if we have global problems, then our audience can't even begin to start understanding what we're saying. These concepts, these global and local concepts, can actually apply to speaking and listening as well. And I think it's really important that we understand that. And we likely have all had some experiences with this, right? Sometimes, I stand in front of the class and I stumble over my own words, but most of you guys can bear with that and understand me. And I know the same thing happens to us. Sometimes when we're out in public, or if we're nervous, or if we are doing something new and we're using new words and new vocabulary, we end up kind of stuttering or stumbling through or mispronouncing some of the words that we otherwise shouldn't have pronounced that way. And it can be embarrassing and it can feel not great. There are times when I repeat myself in this class and I get a little bit like, oh, I hope nobody thinks that I am losing my mind up here. I promise I'm not. But the important thing to remember is that this happens to everybody. Most of the time when we do this, though, we're looking at local issues. We're looking at small things where we misspeak, but not things that stop our audience or stop our listener from understanding what we're saying. Some other things that can interfere with either global or local issues are things that we've talked about in the past. Things like accents, things like idioms or slang or certain sayings, and those types of things, while maybe not technically an issue, they may not be a problem in everyday speech, but they could present a comprehension issue for your audience. So if you are trying to get your point across, or you're at a job interview, or you're here in class trying to talk to somebody and you have too many global issues in your speech, too many things in your pronunciation or enunciation or vocabulary that are off-putting, you might not be able to communicate as effectively as you could if you were aware of what those issues were and could speak in a more straightforward manner. How many people noticed where Adichie was from? Right, she's from Nigeria. So she is speaking English, and she is speaking academic English because she's presenting at a conference, which means that she's generally pretty clear, but there definitely were some times where she might have been a little bit difficult to understand because she has an accent, and she doesn't just have an accent that we might be used to hearing here in the San Francisco Bay Area because we have a few, but she has an African accent, which in at least where we're living now is relatively unique. So what I want to do now with this idea of global and local issues in mind is have us watch the video again and keep paying attention to the things she's talking about, because we're going to have a discussion about those things following this video. But I also want you to take notes on and be paying attention to the things that she says that don't sound quite right. And I want you to try and figure out whether you're hearing more local issues, smaller level concerns in her speaking that don't stop you from understanding her, but might give your brain a moment of pause, or if you hear global issues, if she says something and you have no idea what she's talking about because of some sort of accent, or her speaking too quickly, or her using words in another language or slang that you're unfamiliar with, note those as well. And we will add that to our conversation. From there, we're going to work together to start brainstorming global and local issues in our own speaking and in things that we hear on a regular basis. So that way we can be more aware of them. And when we become more aware of these things, hopefully that leads us down a path towards correcting these things and being able to have conversations more skillfully, more fluently, and more comfortably. So great, let's go ahead and start that video.